Welcome back. So, Love Insurance Company is one of those films that sounds far more exciting on paper than it actually turns out to be on screen. Directed by Vignesh Shivan, the film is set in a futuristic 2014 Chennai, where an app decides the fate of relationship. At the center of the story is wife Vasu, played by Pradeep Ranganathan, a man who prefers a simple organic life away from technology, and Dheema, played by Kriti Shetty, who is completely immersed in the digital world. When Vasu falls in love with Dheema, the film sets up an interesting clash between emotion and technology, heart versus algorithm. To be fair, the concept is genuinely refreshing. A world where love is dictated by an app opens up a lot of possibility, and for a while, the film actually taps into that potential. Once the story moves past its chaotic opening and settles into the central conflict, especially around the first half, it becomes engaging. The pre-interval and interval portions are particularly strong, blending emotion and concept in a way that makes you feel hopeful about what's coming next. Pradeep Ranganathan does what he does best. He brings charm and relatability to his character, making Vasu easy to root for even when the writing falters. Kriti Shetty gets a better role than usual with a bit more depth, and she handles it fairly well. SJ Surya, as expected, adds energy whenever he appears, even if his role doesn't offer anything particularly new. Technically, too, the film is quite solid. Anirudh background score stand out, and the cinematography gives the film a polished, futuristic look. However, the biggest issue with Love Insurance Company is that it doesn't know how to build on its own idea. The opening is messy, overloaded with information, making it hard to fully understand how this world works. And just when things start getting interesting, the second half takes a very predictable turn. What could have been a sharp exploration of modern relationship becomes a routine commercial drama with familiar tropes. The conflict between app and human emotion, which is the film's strongest point, is handled well initially but eventually loses depth. The narrative starts to drag, especially with repetitive hero versus villain moments and an overstretched emotional resolution. By the time the film reaches its climax, you already know exactly where it's headed, and that predictability takes away way too much from the impact. In the end, Love Insurance Company feels like a missed opportunity. It has a unique premise, decent performance, and strong technical backing, but it struggles with execution. While there are moments that work, especially in the first half, the overall experience ends up being tiring and underwhelming. It's not completely unwatchable, but it's definitely not something you need to rush to the theater for. At best, it's a film you might check out later on OTT with lower expectations. Thank you for watching. Bye.